of the September 11th attack, here is an article from WorldNet Daily. The Muslim in chief, Barack Hussein, made a statement on 9/11 and the commemoration of it. And so according to, and this is coming from Fox News, President Obama's proclamation marking the September 11th terrorist attacks did not include any mention of God. The president also failed to note how Americans sought solace in their religion in the aftermath of the Al-Qaeda attacks. That did happen. It was wrong religion, but that's where they jumped to. And so here is Barack Hussein's, the Muslim in chief's, comments. But as we mark the anniversary of September 11th, we remember what remains the same: our character as a nation, our faith in one another. What? Our faith in one another? I don't have faith in a lot of people. And Mr. President Muslim, most of America does not have any faith in you anymore. You swindled your way into the presidency in 2008, lied your way to get in office. How much more lies are you going to have to tell to keep in office, is my question. And I don't have faith in him. A lot of people that voted for him don't have faith in him. And I promise you, we stand as a nation divided, not as a nation united now because of September 11th. We're all divided. We're split up. And so he talks about the things that remain the same. Our character as a nation. Really? Our character as a nation, Mr. Obama, is the fact that we're condoning what God specifically said was wrong, and that is sodomy. We're condoning it. We're putting up TV shows, talk show hosts. We're plastering it everywhere, all across the screens of America. We're honoring it. One state at a time is toppling in their defense of biblical marriage, and they're converting over to the idea of sodomite marriage. By the way, Gary was telling me Sunday that there was an article out where two lesbians had been married one to another, and one of them died, and it shafted the other one with a $400,000 debt. And the surviving lesbian now wants the courts to undo their marriage. You see, they don't want equal rights. They want special rights. They want rights that nobody else in the whole country gets, is what they want. That's our character as a nation. Then he says our faith in one another. Are you kidding me? And he says our legacy as a country strengthened by service and selflessness. So instead of calling upon God, instead of saying that we dove into our religious ideals, the president called on Americans to participate in community service. And that is something dear and near to his heart as a community activist. Community service to honor those who were lost. Now, don't pray. Don't pray for the country. Don't call upon God. Go out, pick up some trash, and that will honor the 9/11 victims. What a president we have. If you remember at one time, and I'm going through some articles here that have been sent to me. By the way, it's good to be back here. I took a week off preparing for our daughter Courtney's wedding, and that's all said and done, and she is happy, and we have one less child in our house, and yeah, there's just a lot of mixed feelings there. Appreciate everybody that has sent in comments about that, and so on and so on. But it's good to be back here. If you sent me an email to the Pastor Mike online email address, it probably did not get read. I tried to go back a little bit and look at some of them, but if you sent something really important, send it again, all right? And I have your emails up and waiting today. Tony Jones used to be part of the Obama administration. Here's an article talk about Tony Jones says death to homeschooling. This article by Tony Jones caught my attention because of the title. Why would someone write an article entitled Death to Homeschooling? The article itself simply states the reason he doesn't send his kid to public French immersion charter school or private school or homeschool. But he doesn't condemn any of the others, only homeschool. By having some knowledge of Tony Jones' liberal leanings, it is my estimation that the title does... I'm thinking of Van Jones. Tony Jones, he is a liberal emergent pastor. It is my estimation that the title does more than just point out a personal preference. It communicates a strong contempt for homeschooling and those who homeschool. And so Tony Jones, the liberal, writes an article condemning homeschool. Now, every now and then you'll see Caleb run in here while I am on my Pastor Mike Online live broadcast. That's because he is being homeschooled this year for various reasons. But we feel it is the best decision as parents that we're making for our son. We operated a Christian school here for 14 years. All three of my daughters graduated from there. And it just got to where it was consuming me too much, and we shut it down, and we started the Watchman broadcast, and things went rolling that way. But I don't regret homeschooling or Christian schooling my children. I don't regret that, and here's why. Let me go back to Deuteronomy again. Let me read you some scriptures. The Bible says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart." He's talking about the Bible. The Bible's words should be in thine heart. And then he said in verse 7, "And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children." You're to teach your children diligently. Why? Because there is a lion out there roaring against your children, and he's diligent too. He is seeking whom he may devour, and he may try to devour your children with a godless, homosexualized, liberal agenda, turning all of the school children into little liberals. Have you, and by the way, my mom does some substitute work at a local school district in their cafeteria. And she told me, she said, "Have you seen the new menu that Michelle Obama is making all these children gag on?" She said, "They're throwing away their food. They're not eating their lunch. They're throwing it away. Throwing it away, just tossing it. They're showing up for school, take a look at what they got, get their little lunch tray, throw most of it away because they don't eat it." And this is the liberalization of our children. It is the idea that eating certain things is, it's killing America. It's doing this, and it's causing terrible things, and we're the government. We're just here to help you because you're not smart enough to help yourself. That's what it's teaching all of our children. And then they take the smart kids or the academically achieved children, and they're dumbing them down to the level of kids who cannot comprehend certain subjects. And then they're going to have gay days at school, and then they're going to have this, and trying to turn all of the school children into tidy little voting liberals that believe in evolution, like Bill Nye the Science Guy suggested last week. And so Christian families who don't want their kids being sexualized at school, and by the way, let's defend public school for a minute. And I know it's not in every case. I know that in this country there are still some halfway decent school districts. But just turn on the news, and usually every week in your area, if you live around a big city, usually every week there's another teacher or another teacher's aide being busted for sexualizing some kid at school, teenager or whatever. It's happening every week. It's almost a constant thing going on in this country. And we've seen the stories of how women teachers are having affairs with teenage students, teenage boy students, in some cases teenage girl students. It's almost like the public schools, like the big predator ground for these people. And they want to tell you, wow, the only real choice that you have is public school. Nah. You have a right, you have a duty, you have an obligation as a parent. Now, I will say this. Homeschooling may not be for everybody. It's not easy to do. And it may not be for everybody. And are you cheating your children by sending them to public school? And the answer is no. But you still have an obligation as a parent to diligently teach your children the words of God. If they have to go to public school, let me put it to you like this. Before your child can enroll in public school, they have to be inoculated against measles, mumps, rubella. They have to be inoculated against all of these other diseases that are floating around there. Why don't you as a parent inoculate your children against sodomy, against evolution, inoculate your child against premarital fornication? Why don't you inoculate your child against liberal thinking? Why don't you inoculate your child against some of the stuff that you know for a fact they're going to hear on the bus or they're going to pick up at school and the dirty jokes? Why don't you inoculate your child against that? And I will say this. I only went to private school. I went to a Christian school here in town for a year and a half. Now, it was at a pivotal time in my life. And from half of 8th grade on through high school, I graduated from a public high school. But my parents, my pastor here, did a great job of preaching the truth and teaching the truth. And for the most part, I was inoculated against believing the garbage that was being told. And on occasion, when I was given an opportunity, I stood up for it. We had the teacher, my biology teacher, 10th grade, understanding that there were some kids in the class that were creationists, allowed us to have a debate of creation versus evolution. They picked me to be the creation guy. Okay, and when I got done speaking, I got high fives from my classmates. Hey, yeah, we showed them. My 10th grade sociology or psychology teacher wanted to cover homosexuality in the classroom. I didn't know at the time that she was a lesbian. I thought she was just ugly. I didn't know at the time. And so I said, I don't think that's right. I didn't say it in class. I went to the principal's office. We had a little talk, and my principal, my high school principal, tried this one on me. Well, I go to church, and our church doesn't see anything wrong with teaching this subject. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, you're going to the wrong church then. My parents, my church, the Sunday school lessons, the preaching that we had here inoculated this young man, and I finally said, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's right. And so in the classroom, I could tell the teacher